Hello everyone, Alan Verdugo here, and today we're gonna make an amazing apple pie. So the first step that we need to do to make an amazing apple pie is to make the dough, right? How could we make an apple pie without the dough? So the first thing we're gonna use 2 cups of flour, all-purpose flour. I don't know if you use a different flour that would affect the process, but for now I'm just using all-purpose flour. 2 cups, here's one, and another one. Like DJ Khaled said, another one, right? So, 2 cups of flour. No worry, no problem if we make a mess. That's what the kitchen's for. Sometimes, not all the time. So, now we add a little bit of salt, just like a 1/4 of a teaspoon. That's about it. And we mix. And now that is mixed, we're gonna have some cold butter. We need cold butter for this. So it can have the texture that we want on it. I'm using 10 tablespoons of butter, and we use our fingertips, because our palms are hotter than our fingertips, and that's gonna melt the butter, and we don't want that. Try to incorporate everything together. Oh, I'm making a mess here, no problems. I only had this bowl and didn't have much, so this is about it. So I think I'm gonna have to add another cup, because I'm making a mess here. No problem. So now guys, the next step is adding the egg. We're gonna use 2 egg yolks, not the whites, just the egg yolks. We have 2 here. One exploded on me, but I'm sure there's 2 in there. And 4 tablespoons of cold water. I'm using ice and water to have it as cold as possible. You can do that as well, or stick it in the freezer a little bit, but I recommend this method. It really helps. 3 and 4. And we grab a fork, and we mix, just like we're trying to make an omelet, something like that. And we mix well the egg. And now that we mixed it well, we're gonna add a little bit by little bit to the mixture here, and we try to incorporate everything as fast as possible. The fork really helps to incorporate because it separates the flour, and it helps for the butter to not melt because you're not touching it. It's not how you're with your fingers, which really helps in the process. Because we need that cold butter and that cold water to grab the texture that we need for the pie, right? And we add a little bit more, and incorporate together, and just like that. Now we're putting it on the board here to incorporate it better. If you have a bigger bowl, that's gonna help you a lot, but since I don't have that, and that's all I'm working with, and just incorporate egg and the butter and the flour, just like that. So now that we have our dough with the right consistency that we got, which is this one, which is it forms to whatever we want it to form, that's when it's right. So now we're gonna put it in some paper and leave it on the fridge for 30 minutes to rest, so we can get that consistency we want. So now guys, that we put our dough in the fridge to rest for 30 minutes, while the dough rests, we're gonna do these beautiful Granny Smith apples, the bullets to our guns. First of all, we're gonna peel them. We want them peeled. We don't want that to ruin our pie. I don't know if people like it with peels. I'm not sure. I always heard it without the peel, so I'm gonna just go ahead and take the peel off. And we're gonna use a big quantity of apples because we're gonna take out the moisture out of them, so they're gonna eventually reduce. So we want to use a big amount of apples so they can fill up every space inside the pie, to have a beautiful bite of apples every time we bite that beautiful pie, you know? Beautiful has to go with beautiful. So now, throw this in the trash. And once you have your apples peeled, I'm using around 6 apples here. Like I said, Granny Smith green apples. As long as they're cooking apples or whatever type of apple you'd like to use, go ahead. So now we just cut them like this, cut them like that, all of them, and just cut them in slices, in thin slices. And that's the apples we're gonna work with. Now guys, we're gonna make the bullets to our guns. Now that we have finally diced or cut all these apples into little, you could call them like half moons, whatever, something like that. We're gonna season them. Now to season them, we're gonna have to emulsify them, which means taking out the moisture out of these apples. So we're gonna add 1 cup of brown sugar, which is gonna help to emulsify and to also add a lot of flavor. 1 cup of brown sugar. Next, 1 teaspoon of salt. That's gonna help also to draw out moisture. And for a little bit of and cornstarch, and we're gonna add lime juice for flavor as well. Cornstarch, which is 1 tablespoon and 3/4 of cornstarch. 1 tablespoon, teaspoon not tablespoon, and 3/4. This is 1/4, 1, 2, and 3. Now, last but not least, our beautiful cinnamon. What's gonna give all this amazing flavor to these apples. Be gentle, but don't just like that. And we mix them around. Just like that. So now that we have our apples all seasoned up, we're gonna let them rest for about 30 minutes. And every 10 minutes, we're gonna move them around a little bit to make sure that all the apples draw all the moisture out, you know. And correction, emulsification does not mean to draw on moisture. I mixed up some words. I meant desiccate, not emulsify, desiccate. So now, let them rest in the fridge for 30 minutes. So now, after 30 minutes of letting that dough rest, it's time to roll it. So we grab a little bit of flour. We get it on the board or the place we're gonna roll the dough, just like that, so the dough won't dry out, you know. So we grab the rolling pin and we start like pushing it down, just like that, and again. It's a little sticky, the dough, so I'm gonna add a little bit of flour to it. That helps. If it's sticky, just add flour, and that's gonna help dry it out a little bit and get that texture that you want. So now, roll and try to get it even to get a nice circle. And if you get these cracks, try to close them, because if you don't close them, they're gonna get worse than they are. So just like that, and we give it form. Easy. And we're trying to have the final result a 1/8 of an inch thickness on the dough. so it can cook well. Start rolling again. So we're gonna use this, so a little bit bigger, so I have more margin of error. No problem. Work with it. Don't do that with your fingers because you're gonna rip it like me. And let's set it on the table. Let me move everything to the side to set the dough on the table. I'm gonna put some flour here as well. Move this just like that. That's good. And now here. And let's get it. Let's move this back here. It won't be any trouble, right? And roll it, and roll it, and keep rolling. Corta. So now the easiest way to get the dough to the pie pan without ripping the dough is to rolling the dough in the pan and with itself. Just like that. Just like that. See how it's got? And we lay it down. Just like that. See how beautiful that was? And let's close this up. And look at that. It's coming out beautiful, man. It is coming out beautiful. I love it. And just push it in. Push it in with your fingers or your knuckles, don't matter, as long as you push it in. Try to get it as close to the corner as possible. Try to take form with a plate to not have any spaces between the dough and the plate. So now we're gonna cut this piece of dough over here, which is kind of thick a little bit, just like that. Oh, it's ripping here. No problem. We're gonna fix that right now. Just like that. Just the excess. No need to get too close to the edge. So now we're gonna do like a double here, like that. You see like a little floor under the crust to get a crust. And that's gonna help with to create a crust and also to support the pie and give it a nice form, you know, just like here is a lot of dough, so I'm gonna cut that, so just like that. See? So now, guys, we're gonna take out the juice that all these apples got extracted by the salt and all that sugar. And we're gonna pour this so we can make, you hear that? All the juice of the apples, man. We're gonna make that into like a little, we could say a little sauce for the, or like a caramel for the apple pie. Something nice, something tasteful, you know? Just, we're gonna add a little bit of cornstarch to thicken it a little bit, and that's gonna be about it. Nothing else. Just make sure that all that juice is in there, no more left in here, and we're good to go, man. So now, guys, like I said before, we're gonna boil this little juice that all the apples left from putting them in the salt and the sugar. So now we're gonna add another 1 3/4 teaspoons of shortening to have a more sauce. I mean, a more how would you say it? A more thick texture to them. That's the word I was looking for. A more thick texture, and that's it. We don't want to boil it too much, and just like that, get it off And let's not try to keep a little of the ball, so let's just do that. After finally getting all the shortening mixed up, because I forgot to put it in water to dissolve it first, which was a big deal, but I finally got it here. We're gonna set this to the side, and we're gonna take out the pie dough from the fridge, and we're gonna add all these beautiful, beautiful apples in there, just with your hands. And there, like that. Just like it. Make sure to spread them all out. Now guys, that we have all our apples in our pie, we're gonna add this beautiful caramel, almost, it looks like caramel to be honest, mixture into our apple pie. Look at that beautiful color, man. It looks, tell me that don't look delicious. Just all drizzle all over the pie, all over the apples, man. We want that beautiful concentrated flavor from the apples, the cornstarch, the lemon juice, or lime juice, I don't know, lemon, lime, whatever. It's not the same, but I think I used lime. Beautiful, beautiful, all concentrated together. So now we're going to put the top part. I used the extra of the sides I cut from the dough, and that seemed to work, don't it? Just fix it here, just like that. Just like that, and put it, just bend it together, get it real tight on here, and we're gonna make a crust right now. A beautiful, beautiful, amazing, classic crust for this nice apple pie. Look at that. Just make sure to seal here real tight, real well. We don't want, oh, damn, we don't want any air escaping from there. We're getting all bad, you know. And we're done. So now, to make a crust, we're gonna just use our finger like that, our knuckle and our fingers, like that. Oh, it's dripping a little bit, but we're fine, no worries. Everything's good, looking nice, just like that. Nice crust, look at that. And we're gonna do some egg wash, and we're gonna cut it from the top because these fruit pies need air, so we're gonna do that. Cutting the dough, beautiful. Look at that. Cutting it right, you know. Have to get it right. Look at that beauty, man. It's like so rustic and so homemade, so beautiful. So now the egg wash. We're gonna use just an egg yolk, something basic, something simple, something fast. We're gonna grab a little, what is this? Yeah, clean. We need a fork right here. And we're gonna throw away the egg white real fast. Just like that. and get the egg yolk. Oh, oh. There. And with a fork, mix it. Just like that. And since I don't have a brush, because you know, I'm a student, what you do with your students, you have a little spoon, and just like that, the whole pie. So now guys that we put the egg wash on our pie, we're gonna add a little bit of sugar to give it, you know, a nice texture on the top, you know, just like that. A little bit of drizzle, and this pie goes into the oven at 400 degrees for 45 minutes. Oh, it's hot in there. So it's now been 45 minutes, guys, since I put the pie in, and it's ready. It's finally ready. And look at that beautiful color that this pie has. Oh, it's dripping a little bit of juice, but look at that beautiful pie, guys. Tell me it doesn't look amazing, because it does look amazing. Look at that. So now I'm gonna let it rest for a bit so it can cool down, so I can cut it up and see how it looks from the inside. Okay guys, it's been a few minutes since the pie been cooling down a little bit, so it's time to cut it up. So, oh, look at that texture. Oh, it looks amazing. It's like kind of like a cookie, which not really, but it's got a nice texture. Look at that, guys. Okay, so now here comes the tricky part. There you go. Look at that apple pie. Tell me that doesn't look amazing. Look at that. Now, let's try it. It's still very hot apparently, but let's see what's up. How good it tastes. Oh. Damn. You have to try it.